Imagine the world of espionage and high-stakes military strategy suddenly exploding into real life with the targeted elimination of a key terrorist leader. Now, that's the gripping reality behind the assassination of Hezbollah's military chief, Haytham Ali Tabatabai. For decades, this operation has been a meticulous dance of intelligence gathering, and it's a tale that exposes just how Israel's military minds have been one step ahead. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this calculated strike a necessary act of self-defense, or does it risk escalating tensions in an already volatile region? Stick around, and this is the part most people miss, the intricate web of surveillance and prediction that made it all possible. For nearly 3 decades, Israel's Military Intelligence Directorate's Research Division kept a close eye on Haytham Ali Tabatabai, tracking his every move until he climbed to the top as Hezbollah's chief of staff. When a rare window of opportunity presented itself, the intelligence experts didn't hesitate. They urged seizing the moment to neutralize this threat. As one of Hezbollah's most influential remaining leaders, Tabatabai spearheaded the group's recovery efforts after the ceasefire kicked in. He collaborated closely with Iran to import new weapons and technologies, and he played a pivotal role in restructuring the organization, shared Lieutenant Colonel Y, who heads the Lebanon Division within the Military Intelligence Directorate's research unit, in a candid conversation with Ynet and Yedioth Ahronoth. To put this into perspective for newcomers, Hezbollah is a militant group rooted in Lebanon with deep ties to Iran, often labeled as a terrorist organization by many Western nations due to its history of attacks and ideological stance. Throughout the conflict, Tabatabai's role transformed dramatically. He emerged as a bold, aggressive commander who was always primed to use force. Lieutenant Colonel Y elaborated, he earned promotions that boosted his authority, and he became a prominent voice in Hezbollah's leadership discussions. Once appointed as chief of staff, his influence soared, and he gradually took charge. This made him the top priority for military targeting. When a singular chance arose, our team, encompassing target research, operations, and Air Force specialists, advised capitalizing on it. This operation didn't just take out Hezbollah's military head, it dismantled one of their greatest reservoirs of expertise, a man intimately tied to assaults that inflicted heavy losses on Israeli lives. Recently, Tabatabai was at the forefront of Hezbollah's evolution and aggressive maneuvers. The group was rearming, defying disarmament calls, reorganizing, and gearing up for future confrontations. That's why Lieutenant Colonel Y believes, he fostered a unity that left no better moment for us to remove him from the equation. After each Hezbollah commander's removal, Lieutenant Colonel Y's division springs into action, scouting potential replacements, dissecting their backgrounds, and alerting leaders to their strategies. We've watched successors to Nasrallah for years, he revealed. Throughout his tenure, we consistently identified likely heirs. The aim is to spotlight those with promise, and advocate for eliminating anyone who constitutes a danger. Since Tabatabai's takedown, the division has already pinpointed several possible candidates poised to become the next chief of staff. We're also flagging the necessity for more strikes against individuals who might violate the ceasefire, bolster their position, and steer Hezbollah toward paths that clash with our interests. Plus, we're thinking ahead to the post-conflict landscape, he noted. We ponder if his successor will adopt a more restrained approach or feel intimidated, but that's not a factor we weigh in our advice to the political leadership. Lieutenant Colonel Y stresses that his unit, tasked with analyzing Hezbollah's military setup, has monitored the Lebanese border since the 1970s and 1980s. For generations, through both peacetime and wartime, they've studied Hezbollah's inner workings, from its hierarchy and leaders to its expansion blueprints and the deployment of its forces. Our daily grind involves total surveillance of Hezbollah, he said, painting a picture of relentless vigilance. In his view, we now excel at charting Hezbollah's top echelons. We follow both individuals and the group's internal dynamics. For Lieutenant Colonel Y, the objective is to instill a constant awareness of the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, presence in the enemy. We manage to get so close to targets that we can take them out, and that's precisely the impression we want to create, he explained. The public only tunes in when eliminations or major operations hit the news, but on the Lebanese side, this has been a long-distance run spanning 43 years, dating back to Hezbollah's inception and beyond. He continued, "We're a vital link in an extensive, unbroken effort that shapes our strength and intelligence prowess. Our mission is to uncover enemy activities, their schemes to strengthen and threaten, and to reflect reality to anyone underestimating Hezbollah's direction." Drawing from years of expertise, Lieutenant Colonel Y points out that Hezbollah is deeply rooted in religious ideologies. These beliefs and objectives have matured over time, making a swift shift away from this lethal mindset improbable, he stated. Over the years, the Military Intelligence Directorate has honed its skills, navigating evolving hurdles on the Lebanese front since October 7. "We've achieved remarkable progress, learning from both missteps and triumphs," he shared. "Our task is to deliver the sharpest possible insights to policymakers, not just on Hezbollah's motives, but on their deeds, how they're prepping for battle, enhancing their capabilities, and plotting their next steps." The biggest hurdle, as Lieutenant Colonel Y describes, lies in deciphering Hezbollah's current stance over the past 2 years, its inclination toward initiating violence and launching offensives. "We also need to grasp how it fits into the broader Axis alliance, its perceived function within that network, and its partnerships with groups like Palestinians, Iranians, Houthis, and Iraqis." Since the war began, Lieutenant Colonel Y's team has rallied dozens of active duty and reserve personnel to work non-stop. These knowledgeable professionals burn the midnight oil, including weekends and holidays, piecing together a colossal puzzle, Hezbollah's intelligence landscape. "That's the secret to our wins," he proudly declared. But here's where it gets controversial. Targeting leaders like Tabatabai is seen by some as a pragmatic way to disrupt terrorist operations and save lives, preventing future attacks that could cost civilians dearly. Yet, others argue it perpetuates a cycle of violence, potentially radicalizing more individuals and complicating peace efforts. And this is the part most people miss, how intelligence operations like this blur the lines between preemptive defense and aggression. What do you think? Should nations have the right to strike preemptively against perceived threats, or does this approach only fuel global instability? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with striking first, or is there a better path to lasting peace? Let's discuss.